And tonight we have some amazing guests who are joining us. We have Andrea Shore, used to be Kakaninden from Ontario, and her son, Devin Shore, who is now residing in Edmonton. So welcome, Andrea and Devin. Yay!
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. This is a really exciting night for us, just because during these crazy COVID times, this is what I feel like exactly what we need. Just a night filled with positivity, good memories, and just kind of getting people sort of on this right track. Athletes, coaches, judges, parents, friends, anyone who's interested. I feel like these inspiration series are really applicable to everybody's life in any kind of capacity. So tonight we're kind of going to go on a bit of a journey. I'll kind of give you a bit of the night's agenda. So I'm gonna do kind of an introduction bio on Andrea and Devin. We'll do a Q&A, which is really, really casual, more like a conversation, where we'll ask some questions kind of revolving recreational to elite athletes or professional hockey players. And then after that, we'll go into a bit of a walk down memory lane and look at some photos and maybe some clips. And then after that, we'll do a rapid fire just to learn a little bit more about Andrea and Devin. They don't know any of these questions yet for the rapid fire questions. And then we'll open it up to the audience to ask whatever questions you might have at this time. So without further ado, we'll get started. So again, welcome Andrea and Devin, and welcome to everybody who showed up tonight. I'm just so pleased to see all these beautiful smiling faces. No one looks angry, so that's a good thing. You know, does anyone have their baton on them?
Nope.
No. All right. So I'll start with Andrea. I'll talk a little bit about her baton bio here. She first started at Wanakwa Community Club in baton and dance at 4 years old. Her first competition was at age 6, and she twirled with Linda Boyd's Tempo Twirlers for 16 years. And to add to that, Linda is still teaching the Winnipeg Tempo Twirlers, and she is going strong. Yes, and we're very, very proud of her. And Andrea's won numerous city, provincial, Canadian, and AYOP championships in core, parade core, show core, dance twirl, and team. Individually, she's won numerous city, provincial, strut and twirl championships, Miss Majorette of Manitoba, and provincial freestyle titles. Some of her more exciting accolades are her Canadian National Majorette Champion in 1981, Grand National Strut Champion in 1982, Canadian Team Gold Medalist in 1983, 84, and 85 with the Winnipeg Tempo Twirlers, World Team Bronze Medalist, which happens to be the first medal that we brought home to Canada in 1983, which was the bronze medal in Milano, Italy. And the world team placed 4th in 1984 in Frankfurt, or in 1984 in Calgary, sorry, and 1985, they placed 4th as well in Frankfurt, Germany. She started coaching at 14 years old, and she actually started coaching me, for those of you who didn't know that. Canadian champ, I didn't even read this part. I was the Canadian champion in numerous divisions and events from 1980 to 1990. And then Kristen made the national junior freestyle team and competed in Switzerland in 1989, where she placed 6th. Andrea is a certified Twirl Canada and CBTF judge from 1986 to 2000, and coached and choreographed around Australia from 1988 to 1990, and then 1990 to 91, several of those athletes subsequently competed at Worlds. She also taught for many, many years with the Camaros, and Leanne Wilson is here to join us this evening, and she'll speak to that a little bit. And then while Andrea was in Australia, she was in a small plane crash in 1991 that made her very thankful and grateful to be alive and appreciate all the positives in her life. For those of you who didn't know Andrea, after Baton, he went on to singing, dancing, and acting, and performed with her family at many folklorama celebrations at the Filipino Pavilion as a child. She was a member of the cast of the CTV children's show Let's Go for 3 years from age 9 to 12. Singer, dancer, actress at Rainbow Stage and Stage West in Toronto. Member of the performance crew, the Hot Shots at the 1990 Grey Cup promoting Winnipeg. And presently acoustic singing and guitar duo called Strum Card, and a 4-piece band called The Fog, in which she plays the electric guitar, keyboards, harmonica, and lead backup and vocals. So she sings at many weddings and funerals, as well as does music therapy at hospitals on complex continuing care and palliative care units. And a little bit more about her is her education. She went to Windsor Park High School, graduated in '84, graduated with Dean's Honor List with a Bachelor of Nursing at the U of M in 1988. And now she is a certified occupational health nurse. She is now retired from full-time nursing. She did that in June 2020, but returned in January to help vaccinate residents of long-term care and retirement homes with the COVID-19 vaccine. And presently working casually part-time in HIV hepatitis C clinics in Peterborough, Ontario. So what does she do now? Well, her other interests are water skiing, scuba diving, painting, stained glass, reading, and fishing. She has one brother who lives with his wife in Lancaster, California, USA, and they have 4 children. She's traveled to numerous countries throughout her life, including Europe, Scandinavia, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and North America. And she has been to all 10 provinces from east to west and 29 states in the US. She's been married to her husband, Kyle, for 28 years. And they have 2 awesome sons, Devin, 26, who's with us tonight, who currently plays with the Edmonton Oilers in the NHL, and Darren, who is 24, who is an environmental engineer working for a civil engineering firm in Markham, Ontario. They are her biggest accomplishments in her life. She is particularly proud of both her sons as they earned the Governor General's Award as top of their high school graduating classes as well. So welcome, Andrea. Yay. Okay. So I'll talk a little bit about Devin too. We got double trouble tonight. So Devin, he was born in July 19th, 1994, played hockey and lacrosse, and his first exposure to hockey was sitting in the Stanley Cup at 2 weeks old when their personal friend Glenn Healy had the cup for a day after winning the New York Rangers, after the New York Rangers won in 1994. Devin is obsessed with hockey, he was obsessed with hockey, wanting to walk around in his skates and play mini sticks. I remember that in your basement. I think I played with you when you were a baby. His favorite player growing up was Maurice Richard, after his grandmother read him a book about his life at a young age. He started playing lacrosse at 3 and started playing hockey at 4. And started playing rec hockey at the age of 6 in their hometown of Ajax, Ontario. He started playing golf at 6, which is a passion of his today, and has won numerous tournaments and MVP titles throughout his minor and college career. So the OMHA champ, he was an OMHA champ at age 8, the Ontario Hockey Federation champ at age 10, Pee Wee Team Ontario lacrosse team captain, and national bronze medalist in 2006. And the list goes on and on, wow. Bantam Team Ontario lacrosse assistant captain and national gold medalist in 2008. And 4 members of that lacrosse team actually presently play in the NHL. He enjoyed skating all winter in his backyard rink built by his dad, and he aptly named it Shore Gardens, and traveled to Scandinavia and played in the international under-16 tournament in Sweden, where the local team won the bronze medal. From then on, he went and was drafted 69th overall to the Barrie Colts in the OHL in 2010, and then played with Hill Academy, inaugural hockey team in 2010 to 2011, a team that was considered as the best high school hockey team in North America by various sports organizations. While playing for the Hill, Devin was offered a full scholarship to several NCAA universities, ultimately choosing University of Maine Black Bears hockey program. He was also named Athlete of the Year at Hill Academy, in addition to several other scholastic awards. Played for the Whitby Fury, OJHL, in 2011 and 12, winning the Best Rookie and Top Prospects awards, and then played with Team Canada East at the World Junior A Challenge in Langley, BC, November 2011, where he won the silver medal and tournament MVP. From there, he was drafted second round, 61st overall to the Dallas Stars in 2012. Sorry, I got to take a drink. In the NHL draft, and then played 3 years with the University of Maine Black Bears from 2012 to 15, leading the team in scoring and points all 3 years, and was nominated for the Hobey Baker Award, which is the NCAA MVP in his second year. He graduated with his degree in university in 2019, and university studies in 2019, and was unable to complete his finance degree until after leaving the campus in 2015. He played one season in the AHL with the Texas Stars, Dallas farm team, where he led the league in points before injuring his shoulder in 2015 of December, and played 2.5 seasons with the Dallas Stars, then played with the Anaheim Ducks from January 2019 to February 2020, and then was traded to Columbus Blue Jackets February 2020 and played 6 games with them until the COVID-19 pandemic hit and the season was postponed. He signed with Edmonton Oilers January of 2021, and then he went on to marry his college sweetheart Maggie on October 31st, 2020. So welcome, Devin. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. Questions, we're gonna start with Andrea, actually. So tonight's evening is to basically inspire our athletes, recreational level to elite level, as well as anyone who is involved in their life. So tell us where you grew up and what you were like as a kid.
Well, I grew up in Windsor Park in St. Boniface in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And as a kid, I was very outgoing, very competitive. I loved to perform. I always loved to perform. And I worked really hard at school. My parents called me fearless, which got me into trouble more often than not. But that's pretty much what I was like as a kid. I was very competitive.
You? No. What was your funniest childhood memory?
Geez, I had a great childhood. One of the funniest was fishing with my brother in a canoe. I think it was Nudimick Lake. And all of a sudden, what appeared to me at the time was a huge pike. I don't know if it was huge now, but it jumped right out of the water right beside the canoe, and I freaked out. So I just kept yelling. I screamed, yelled, paddle, 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 paddle. And I made my brother paddle as hard as he could into shore. He was howling and laughing as hard as he could. When we got to shore, we just broke down and laughed hysterically because I just freaked out by this fish that jumped right beside me.
That's hilarious.
And then another funny one was my dad was very much a prankster. So he pulled a lot of practical jokes on his children. So this one also involved my brother. So he knew that we were both competitive. So he laid down a cookie sheet on the ground. He put water in it and he made these little origami boats, and he put one at each end and he put each of us at each end. And he says, okay, the goal here is it's a race and you have to blow the boat to the other side. So you can kind of picture what's going to happen next. So he says, ready, set, go. We start blowing these boats and we just got covered in water, head to toe. Water was everywhere. They're howling and we're just trying to blow these freaking boats across. And then we just laughed because it was just his joke on us. We just got covered in water. So yeah, it was a great, fun going ground.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Your dad's awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome.
What kind of activities were you involved in when you were from, say, the age 12 and under?
I played a little bit of soccer, but I wasn't very good at that one. And I took piano with the Royal Conservatory of Music, and I got up to grade 8. Singing, dancing, acting, performing, always performing. I was on the TV show Let's Go, as you said, from I think age 9 to 12. And I did some radio voiceovers at the time too.
Cool. What do you recall what made you jump from recreational to competitive baton?
I think it was Linda had a little small competition at the Winnequa Community Club, and it was just marching, military and basic, and I won my first medal. Those are the kinds that you used to pin on yourself, the little ones with the ribbon. Well, that's it. That did it for me. I wanted more of those. So yeah, that was all I wanted to do. And I saw some older twirlers doing their thing too, and I figured I wanted to do that as well.
Amazing. How long did you do baton for, and why do you think you stuck with it opposed to anything else?
I competed for 17 years and started coaching at the age of 14, like you said, and then judging right after that. And I quit at the age of 20. I started choreographing at that time. And thank you, Leanne, by the way, for that first opportunity in choreographing. Right after I did my last freestyle, she hired me to choreograph with the Camaros, so thank you. And I was fortunate to judge and coach and choreograph around Canada as well as Australia, which was a huge thrill for me. I stuck with it because I had to make a choice at the time between competitive figure skating and competitive baton twirling. And I just thought it was really cool, which you could do with a metal stick. So I stuck with baton twirling. I liked the artistry of it, and I liked it, and it was fun too. And I also had some closer friends in twirling than I did with the figure skating at the time, so that's why I stuck with it.
Amazing. Love it. And who were your baton teachers and coaches growing up, and how do you think they influenced or inspired you?
Oh, well, my apologies if I forget anybody on this list, but obviously Linda, she was my coach for years and years and years.
Yay!
Yay. You there, Linda? I remember Ron Kopaz. He used to come in and he used to give us our parade core routines and some of our other core routines. We had Michael Cruz. I had routines from Dale White. And I know that Linda had brought in other coaches and choreographers to help us with freestyles and routines over the years, but I honestly can't remember a lot of their names. And of course, my dad. So my dad was a dancer. He was a ballroom dancer as well as an engineer. So he spent a lot of time with me in the gym at practices, and he would correct my body technique. And then we would also have fun kind of making up some different moves, or if I couldn't get something like certain rolls, the engineer in him would come out and he'd help me figure out how to work the rolls and stuff. So he was very influential. And then he would come to the competitions and he would be able to watch, because my mom couldn't watch. She'd run out as soon as I was on. Her nerves couldn't handle it, but my dad could watch, and then he could critique me afterwards and say what I could have done better or what I did okay, what we'd work on for the next practices. And then I'd go to my lessons with Linda as well.
That's interesting that you say that, because we interviewed Lucinda last week, and Betty, her mom, was the person that critiqued her, and she mentioned that she was in the gym, and it was Betty watching her and then Tim watching you, and they were just kind of looking at each other and sizing each other up, and she said that success breeds success, and that's part of the reason why you guys got so great, as well as all the other girls that you were twirling with. So
Lucinda was a huge inspiration as well. We had a very friendly, we had a good rivalry, and we were very different styles of twirling, very different body types, different styles of twirling, and we just made each other better. So we were friends in school. We were also classmates. We were in band together, and but I think that rivalry made us both much better twirlers, because we were in the gyms together, and all this, and then we would really be pushing each other to do better.
Amazing. I love it. Okay, so how does being a recreational athlete differ from being a competitive or elite athlete in your mind, and what made it fun for you in each state?
Well, you have to have fun, you have to enjoy it, and you have to have passion for it either way. If you don't have that, you're not going to do it. The difference between then transitioning from a recreational athlete to an elite athlete is the work ethic and the desire to win. You have to want to win. You have to be competitive, and you have to want to put in the work. You have to have that desire to be better than everybody else and put the hours and time and effort and money into it in order to succeed and be better. And that's, otherwise, that's any athlete transitioning from a recreational to an elite is that they're willing to take it to the next level.
Cool. That's amazing. Okay, so you were part of the first world team that won the first medal for Canada in baton twirling. We have several of the team members with us tonight that I will introduce a little bit later. So I'm so excited that they came to support you and like to even join us. You know, I feel like when you choose baton as an elite athlete, you're a lifer. So whether you want it or not. So I'll introduce them in a little bit, but tell us about like being a part of that team and competing at World, and what did it feel like for you and your teammates in that experience?
It was the first time, I think it was the first time that we'd really, you know, had the team competition for the World Championships. And so we had our choreographer come in, and Michael Cruz, who taught us this routine, and we worked our butts off. And then we ended up winning and representing Canada, which was a thrill in itself. When we went to Worlds, it was we had no idea that baton was a worldwide sport. When we went to Italy, it was like the whole stadium, 2 levels, were packed. We felt like we were at a soccer match in Europe. That is what it felt like to us, because they were banging, they were going crazy with the drums. Mm-hmm. And they were screaming and chanting and yelling. It was just an unreal experience. So we did our performance. We did really well. And then they lined up all the teams onto the floor. And they announced, in 1983, they announced the top 3 teams to make it to the finals. Mm-hmm. First one they announced was Team Canada. And we freaked out. So we were jumping, we were yelling, we were screaming, we were crying because we knew we had a medal. And we knew we were Canada's first medal, and we lost it. All the Canadians in the stands were freaking out as well. And then they announced the other teams, which at the time were Italy and USA, and they're standing there very stoic. Yes, you know, we are going to win. You know, we're up there, and we were just freaking out. So it was totally unreal, and I will never forget it. And then when we went into our final performance, we did really well. We performed really well, but we knew we had a medal, and it was just the biggest thrill of my career, my baton twirling career.
And you grew up twirling with a lot of the girls on your team, right?
Oh yeah. For sure. We competed together. I was duet partners with Lucinda. I was duet partners with Monique Léger, who was also on our team. We were all in corps and teams and dance twirls and everything together. So very, very close knit group. We were all at, you know, each other's weddings. So yeah, it was awesome to share it with them.
That's so cool. See, I was a youngin' at that point, and I adored like Crystal Cassis and I called you girls the big girls. And like, we just, like, you were our heroes. Like, we just wanted to, like, I loved being a mascot more than anything else. Like, I lived for it. And I remember, like, I just wanted to follow everyone around, and I was probably just more annoying than anything. But yeah, for me, you guys were a big, huge part of my inspiration.
Thank you. It was a fun part of our lives, for sure.
That's amazing. Okay, so we're going to change gears a bit here, and because I feel like it's important to talk about these things too. What are some of your toughest memories you have from baton, and how did you grow from them?
Well, I can honestly, the toughest memory is clear in my mind is I was coaching you, and you were a very successful athlete. So you had won in your category in twirl as a preemie, I think, a 0 to 6 or 0 to 8.
Primary, yeah.
Primary. And I had won in the seniors. So then everybody, I don't know who else on the call might remember, there was a Grand Nationals. So the winners of every category would compete for the Grand National title. Because I was your coach, it was stated in the Canadian national rules that a coach was not allowed to compete against their student. And the coach had to pull out. So you at 6 years old or however you were allowed to compete, and I was not. And I was absolutely devastated because the person who ended up winning the Grand National Twirl Championship was actually a good friend of mine, Christine Mark. And I had beat her the day before. So I knew I stood a chance. It all depends on your performance. I'm not saying I would have won. I'm just saying I would have really loved to have the opportunity to try. And I never got that opportunity. And I was absolutely devastated. Teaches you, and I had to be an example to you too, because you were my student. So it teaches you have to follow by the rules, like it or not. I guess I must say that though, that rule was changed right after that.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's very humbling. And thank you for doing that for me. I clearly don't remember it. And I'm sure it just devastated you and broke your heart, but thank you. But at the same time, I'm sure that taught you a lot about.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, it was extraordinarily disappointing. I just would have wished I had the chance.
Yeah.
So heartbreaking, but moving on.
Okay, so we'll change that to, what are some of your best moments you can remember, either in practice or competition?
Oh, well, I mean, the Worlds was right up there, that bronze medal. And some of the titles that I won, they were big. So in competition, some of the big milestones for me were winning Miss Majorette of Manitoba for the first time, winning the Canadian National Majorette Champion, and that was really special for me because when I won the nationals, I had just gotten over 2 years of a severe growth spurt. And I don't know if anybody remembered as they were watching me perform, but for 2 years, I fell at the end of almost every routine because I couldn't get my center of gravity for all my spins and all my spinners. Linda will remember that too. And it was heartbreaking because I grew something like, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches in that matter of time. And I could not get that puberty growth spurt under control. So when I did at 14 finally level out, and I ended up winning the nationals, that was huge for me. The Grand National Strut Champion, that was really, really big for me as well. And most importantly though, at that same year, I won Miss Congeniality. And I think that was really important for me because that established that I had a connection with my competitors, that it wasn't all just about the winning and the performing and getting the titles. It was about your connections with your competitors, the people that you're with, the friendships that you're making. And for me, that was probably one of the biggest, most momentous titles, is being respected by your peers. And that really meant a lot to me. Other great moments that I had were seeing some of my students from Australia compete at Worlds. And I was there with you, Kristen. So you were one of my huge pride and joy, being there and seeing you succeed, and then passing on that torch to Maureen and having her step in when I no longer could do for you and get you as far as your potential would take you. But seeing you succeed was a huge highlight of my life, and being able to share your success with also the Australian team that was in Switzerland, and seeing some of those athletes that I taught in Australia make it to Worlds and then get their personal bests in the compulsories and in their freestyles was extremely rewarding. And then, as far as, the other benefits, I think that was probably, those are my biggest achievements though.
Awesome. Cool. I was just taking a peek at the chat here, and Kevin Latrace said, your dad spent time with everyone at the gym. He helped us all. He was an amazing man. So yeah, thanks for that.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, he did. He liked, because of his dance background, we would be in the gym and every person would do their routines in front of him and he would give a little critique. And then the next person would come on and do their routines in front of them. And he give it, show them how to do something a little bit different or a little bit better because of his dance background. So I'd have to step aside and do my own thing while all these other girls in the gym were performing for him.
That's cool. Yeah, okay, here. What skills do you think you have learned in the sport of baton that you feel you've applied to your life and family?
Number one would be my work ethic. I think in order to succeed as an elite athlete, you have to have that work ethic, and that carried over to my schoolwork and my life. Anything, my parents always said, if you're going to do something, do it right. And if you're going to do something, you do it 100%. Never 99, it's got to be 100%. And if the best you can do is, fourth, third, whatever place, that's the best you can do. But that was the expectation, that we always gave 100% and we put the hard work into it. So that, of course, is transcribed into my life, and I've carried that through with my job and tried to teach my kids that same work ethic, that you have to put in the work in order to succeed, and you have to be whatever your potential is. So, if you're going to be a carpenter, you be the best carpenter. If you're going to be an engineer, you be the best engineer as that you can be. And that's, And it's allowed me to, be very rewarding. I did miss it. There are sacrifices, missed out on a lot of dates, missed out on a lot of fun with friends in high school. But I also gained a lot of huge and long-standing friendships with the people that I was twirling with and against, and the travel, and then the specific skills too that it hampered. I mean, it harbored. It was the hand-eye coordination. So I feel that helped my golf game. And I could play softball, that hand-eye coordination. So that came from catching a baton. And also, the fear of, not get, like, we got hit a lot. So yeah, you just bounce back and keep going.
Mm-hmm. I remember hurting myself a lot when you were teaching me.
I know what you're going to say. It hurt me.
Yeah. Didn't hurt me. Do it again.
Yeah. You're never going to let me live that down, are you?
Nope. Okay, so both of your boys played recreational competitive hockey and lacrosse. What are some of the things you did to make it fun for them?
Oh, what was it, Devin? The backyard rink. Yeah, backyard rink.
Yeah, they just made sure to keep it fun. I think it's as simple as that. They just said, like, of course you're going to work hard and everything, but rule number one is you got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, there's no point in doing it. That's
right. And we, at one point, Devin wanted to put, the pylons and, hey, Dad, let's do some drills. And Kyle, my husband, said, no way, no pylons on the backyard rink. The backyard rink is for fun, it's for friends. We had an open door policy, so anybody could come over at any time. And we had it so that they would put their skates on in the house, crawl through the house to the back, to the door of the door to the backyard, then walk on the deck. And we had these mats going out to the rink. And then we would have this, what used to be, I remember chimeneas. We had a chimney out there. So the parents would be beside the rink drinking and having their, watching their kids on the back and staying warm by the chimney and the fire. And then the kids would be on the backyard rink. So we made it fun. And the other thing that we really made an effort to make it fun for the kids was they were highly also, and both of the kids were highly competitive in hockey and highly competitive in lacrosse. And we camped. We camped with a tent, and then we got a tent trailer so that all of our lacrosse tournaments we camped at, and we had actual family time. And that was hugely important because, they were chasing frogs, chasing snakes, going fishing, running around like banshees, being able to scream and yell and be boys and have fun. And I hope it made it, memorable for them.
That's funny. I think about like what made it fun for me was going on these trips to like Minot, or like these trips to wherever we went across Canada. And the big exciting thing for me when I was a kid was being able to go into the pool and with all my friends. I remember swimming with all my friends afterwards and like running down the hallways. And that was, okay. So who inspires you now?
My family. They inspire me to pursue all the things that give me joy. They don't hold me back. Kyle lets me do all the things that I love to do, which is, the singing in the band, the singing in the duo, the stained glass. It takes me away from him a lot. I have a workshop downstairs that I could spend 5 or 6 hours. He calls it the dungeon, as Devin well knows. And, the rehearsal times with the band and the gigs that I go to, he supports me 100%. He comes to all my gigs unless Devin has a game. My mom and dad would come to all my gigs. And they support me. They even get involved in a lot of my art projects. So they are my inspiration. COVID has also inspired me to contribute a little bit more to my community. So since I retired from nursing last year, I felt like I wanted to give back with some of the skills that I had. So that's why I did some of the COVID vaccinations in the long-term care homes and the retirement homes, which was very humbling because these people, you'd walk in with the vaccine and they would be crying and having music and clapping you in. And meanwhile, these are the healthcare workers that are taking care of all these seniors day to day and dealing with all of their needs. And yet they're clapping us in because we're bringing the vaccine. So it was very humbling. And then I also now am working 2 days a week at an HIV clinic here in Peterborough. And it is extremely, extremely satisfying and very rewarding nursing work. But it also 2 days a week. It's great nursing job.
Awesome. Living the dream.
Yep.
So I have my last question for you here, and then we'll move on to Devin. With the challenges of dealing with COVID, do you have any advice for athletes and coaches on how to keep them safe and motivated?
Well, this is really hard times. So as a nurse, get vaccinated. And the washing your hands and wearing the mask, it does make a difference, and the social distancing. And as to stay motivated, I think we also have to remember, like in my lifetime, so I was born in 66, I know I'm aging myself, but in my lifetime, there have been 3 pandemics. There was one in 1968. Can't remember if it wasn't the Hong Kong flu, but it was influenza, and 1 million people died all over the world in 1968. Nobody heard anything about it because the internet wasn't around then. But my mom has even told me that we all got sick. So we recovered from that. Then in 2009, there was another one. That was the H1N1. And there was, I think, worldwide 61 million cases. Not as many deaths, but still it was a pandemic. We recovered from that one. So now we're in 2020 and we're going through this. And this is, you know, by far in my lifetime, like the one that I remember and is the worst, but we will recover from this. So just to stay motivated is to just know that we will get through this. We've done it before. People or human beings are very resilient, and we will get through this, and we don't give up. We'll get through it, and we'll do it again.
Thank you. Thanks, Andrea.
You're welcome.
You're amazing. Love you.
I love you too, Pook.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, Andrea has a nickname for me, and it's Pookie. And just to give you a background on that, it's because my birthday is on Garfield the cat's birthday, which is June 19th. And he had a brown fuzzy bear named Pookie. And I guess I'm brown and kind of fuzzy. So hence the name Pookie. Yeah. So Devin's always called me Pookie as well. So Devin, welcome. Thank you for joining us on your night off from playing hockey.
Happy to be here.
How are you doing?
It's not too often we don't play on a Saturday night, so happy to join you guys.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. Well, congratulations on playing with the Oilers and securing a spot on the team, and just doing everyone so proud. Like, you're playing so well. So
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so a couple of similar questions for you. Tell us where you grew up and what you were like as a kid.
So I grew up in Ajax, Ontario. With my family, my mom and my dad, my brother Darren. I think I was a good kid. I personally have really fond memories of being a child. So like I can't speak to what I was like as a kid because you don't really recognize that. But I have when I look back at my childhood, I was very fortunate, very lucky. I know my folks say, like, and to this day, like, I was a worrier and an overthinker. So I still struggle with that today. So that was me. But yeah, I love playing sports. I loved hanging out with friends and tried to have as much fun as possible.
Amazing. Is there, or where did you get your start when you were in recreational hockey?
I think that's a bit of a product of the culture, you know, growing up in Canada. My parents, you know, like, probably specifically my dad, you know, he put a hockey stick in my hand pretty early, and for whatever reason I took to it and fell in love with it, and I still love it today.
Amazing. Yeah, I remember you playing on the sand at Batula Lake with sticks, yeah, like from trees.
Yeah, I remember that
hockey,
too.
And I think you were still in diapers.
Yeah, that's good.
Is there anyone from your youth who was a hero to you, and why?
Well, I think as a kid, if you're lucky, you look up to your parents, and I was lucky. So, I don't know if you want to use the word hero, like, I definitely viewed my parents that way. For sure. You want to make them proud. You see the way they handle stuff, not just with sports, but just how to be a good human. So, you try to make them proud, but, just kind of talking sports, we had a coach, and it wasn't even hockey, it was lacrosse. Derek Keenan, he was my lacrosse coach all the way through, and we're still close to this day. And he's probably the closest relationship I have with an adult who's not family. So we're still friends to this day, and he taught us a lot of really good life lessons. He was a great lacrosse coach in his own right. We won a lot of games because of him, but I personally looked up to him. by the way he carried himself and his values and principles and stuff. So he was a guy I looked up to, like, of course, like I said, my parents first, but to kind of give you a better answer to the question, Coach K was a guy I looked up to.
Amazing. Love it. Tell us about your journey from like your recreational league hockey to where you are now as a professional hockey player.
Well, I think when you start, you're a kid who loves to play, and to be honest, that's probably still rings true. As you get older, you start, as my mom alluded to, you recognize the situation you're in, and you realize there's certain sacrifices you need to make if you want to pursue your dream. But at the same time, you're still just a kid who loves to play. And I think the moment that goes away, you're in trouble. So that transition felt pretty seamless for me. It just, like, keeping the core stuff true. It's just the little details where you have to make certain decisions, where you have to do this instead of that. As my mom alluded to, those are decisions there where they feel like sacrifices in one way, but at the same time, you have a goal and you want to achieve it. So they seem like easy decisions in a way. So I mean, that might be a bit of a runaround answer, but that's kind of how it felt for me.
No, I think I can see. I'm not a professional hockey player, but I feel like it almost doesn't seem like work if you're with friends, and like,
for sure,
because you're all working hard, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So again, success breeds success.
Yeah.
All right. So how did your parents and family members inspire and motivate you?
They were great. I mean, I think you don't really realize it when you're a kid because you don't have anything to compare it to. But as an adult now, I'm very grateful that they set up an environment where we could still be a kid and still have fun and still enjoy ourselves. But at the same time, they gave us every opportunity to chase our dreams. And as an adult now, I think you become more appreciative of that than ever. But no, they're an instrumental part in this whole journey, the sacrifices they made, whether it's their time or their money. And I think, like, parents just want the best for their kids, and they did that. And like I said, you just want to do them proud. And then, so the parents do that. And then to this day, I'm very close with my brother, and he was, growing up, he was my best friend. He still is to this day. So just having that support system around you, I think as you get older, things can get pretty crazy, and there's a lot of people saying a lot of things. So just to have that support system around you as you get older, the biggest thing now is my wife, and that's huge. And that, like, she's number one now, but growing up, having that close support system. So now it's my wife and my family and my close set of friends. To have that is huge.
Amazing. And we love Maggie. Tell her we say hi.
Will do.
You're a good kid, Devin Shore. Okay, so what are some of your most memorable moments in hockey, on or off the ice?
Geez, that's awesome. Yeah, so I think anytime you win, you remember it. I mean, you remember the little stuff, but like as a kid, we won the OMHAs in novice, and then we won the All Ontarios in Adam, where I would have been 10. So that was an awesome memory. Just, you're having fun playing the game, but if you do all that and you come out on top, that's awesome. But as you get older, I think it's you just enjoy playing each day. I think I genuinely enjoy the process. So, like, it's really cool to look back on the times where it pays off, but the day-to-day pursuit of just, having fun and seeing where the game can take you is a great memory in its own right. And then to add to that, just the memories you have with the people away from the rink are great. I think you can talk about all the wins and the special games you play, but I think the biggest thing that sports has given me is the relationships I've been able to build. So when we're done playing, whenever that is, we're still human beings at the end of the day. So the relationships I've been able to create and build that hockey or lacrosse has afforded me is something that I think is really special.
And you'll keep those friendships. Look at us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's cool kind of being, taking a step back and seeing that. And so I have similar relationships, and it's really cool.
Amazing. Do you keep in touch with some of your old hockey friends from when you were little, and how do you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like my best friends to this day are my teammates when I was 8, 9, 10 years old.
His grandma's on, the grandma of one of his best friends is on the call.
Oh, yay.
Tim's grandma, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Gail Perks is on.
Yeah.
Welcome,
yes,
Gail.
exactly. So hi, Grandma Gail. But yeah, no, I think there's something innocent and cool about being 10 years old and just playing sports and having fun. They're like, you think you have problems when you're 10, but you really don't. And it's a lot of, you just get to, you go to school and you hang with your friends and you get to play a sport, and the relationships you cultivate during that whole process, I think, get really strong. And I'm lucky, you know, my friends to this day, we keep in touch. I know it's tough because we're in different places now, but we have a group chat going and we do the FaceTime. And then if we can, we'll get together. Even if it's once a year, we'll get together, and those are really special moments.
Cool. I like that. True to your roots.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you've had to face over the last few years, and how did you overcome them?
I think it's as you get older, and like I said, I wouldn't trade it for the world, but you make the NHL, and there are days where it feels like a job, you know, and it feels like you have to go in, but you do everything in your power to change that mindset, and just to remind yourself that you get to go into the rink and you're playing a children's game for a living, and that's a really special thing. So when you're in the thick of it, there are things that tick you off and things that stress you out, and that there's merit to that, and it's tough. But at the same time, I think just perspective is everything. To just really enjoy what you're doing and try to put in an effort you can be proud of each day.
You're incredibly positive. I love it. So what keeps you inspired now?
Well, now that I'm here, just when you get so close to it, like the Stanley Cup inspires me. I think you talk about it and you dream about it as a kid, but once you get here, so many things, you've worked so hard, but also you've got so many lucky bounces to get where you are. So you try to owe it to yourself to do everything you can to go in pursuit of that. And then also just, I think just the passion for the game. You know, I hear you guys talk about Baton, and I personally can't relate to that, but I can relate to just the passion you have for it. So if you love something and you enjoy doing it, you owe it to yourself to just, you don't have to set crazy goals on, you need to do this, this, and this, but you're like, hey, I really enjoy doing this. I'm going to do everything I can to do my best and see where it takes me.
Excellent. Okay, so last question. During these crazy times of COVID, what can you offer for advice to young aspiring athletes to help them keep inspired and still reach for their dreams?
Yeah, I think my mom kind of nailed the answer to this question, but I think it's really hard to do, because as athletes, you're always focused on staying present and being in the moment. But when you're talking about COVID, you do have to look at the long game. You have to look at where you see yourself, you know, in the future, and you just have to trust that it will get better and it will end. And it's, when you're in normal times, it's probably easier to see that, but right now you have to trust it and just keep continuing the same process you're going through. Do your best to enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, even if it's not ideal. And you know, if it, trust that it'll work out. And if it doesn't, no, you'll still be better off for it, even if it doesn't. So just enjoy the journey and trust that there is a light at the end of this, and just keep having fun each day.
Thank you so much, Deb. I really appreciate you taking
No
the
problem.
time to chat. Before we move on to our memory lane video and mostly photos part, I just wanted to, first of all, introduce some of the team members that twirled with Andrea while she was growing up from the Winnipeg Tempo Twirlers who are joining us tonight. So we've got Heather Grant. So if you're in the crowd, Heather, wave. Yay!
Hey, Heather.
And we've got Sherry Turner.
I see Sherry. Hi, Sherry.
And who else do we have here? I think I saw Sabina's name up here, and she was a former WTT twirler as well. And Leslie, welcome, Leslie. She was on the team. Maybe
Denise. I think Denise.
Yes, Denise. Hi, Denise. Welcome, welcome. And Monique. Monique is here
I think
too.
I saw Monique. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for joining us. And before we move on, I wanted to give the floor to Linda for a minute or two to talk about what it was like to coach you, Andrea.
Uh-oh.
Just wait 1 sec, Linda. We need you to unmute yourself. There we go. Perfect.
Hi, Linda.
Hi. How you doing? Here's a virtual hug.
Oh.
Yeah, Andrea, it's been I think I'm going to cry.
I know.
It's been a pleasure and an enjoyment to have taught you. And going from recreational to an elite athlete, you were a challenge for me because you always practiced, you always knew what you were doing. And I had to keep on my toes just to keep you sharp for your twirling abilities. And when you practiced, you did practice in the living room once and put your baton through the window.
Yeah, I did.
And your dad was not happy.
No, he was not happy.
But
Not
you were
impressed.
so accomplished in so many things: dance, twirl, parade corps, twirling corps, show corps, and of course, team. And it was just wonderful teaching you. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you for so many years. So thank you, Linda, for being here today too. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Linda. Really appreciate you coming tonight.
Ah.
Okay, great deep breath. Leanne Wilson is joining us from Ontario, and she is the head coach at Camaro's Baton Club. And I wanted her to come and talk about your years of choreography with her group, because you did it for many, many years. Hi, Leanne, welcome.
Hey everyone, so great to see you all. Kristen, thank you so much for reaching out this week. It was great chatting and sharing bath time with your children. Andrea, you look wonderful. I guess the new North air is agreeing with you. Devin, great to see you. Haven't seen you in a while since going out to the gigs. You know what, Andrea, the last couple of days, I have been racking my brain trying to figure out years that all of this went down. They kind of just all mushed together. And then Kristen reads your bio and she's got every year down pat. So I'm going to ask for some help here because it was so wonderful. But it just kind of was effortless. Everything with Andrea was effortless. She was just always so agreeable for everything. Everything was just the enthusiasm that she put into everything that she did. So I remember meeting Andrea for the first time in 1980 at the very first Canadian team trials in Saskatoon. And she won junior compulsories, not one time, 2 times. And I remember up to my right corner, a scream louder than the gym itself from Mrs. Kakaninden when that was announced. And that has stuck in my mind since 1980. That was my first introduction to Andrea and Mrs. Kakaninden. And I'm sure, Andrea, I've even been to one of Devin's games with you. Remember at Pickering Rec Center? And we sat there and you were just like your mom at that game.
Yeah.
Passion for sure. Everything Andrea does is filled with passion. So then she finished competing, and like she said, she agreed to come and choreograph for the club. So Andrea gets to my house, and she's got the music all edited. And remember cassette tapes? It's not as easy as it is now. She came with this cassette tape, and she knew exactly how many cuts in that piece of music. And she was proud of all 30 cuts in that piece of music. And I'll never forget her coming in And so we get up the next morning, we go to the gym, and of course, Andrea, passionate about everything she does and very dedicated, is dressed from head to toe in workout gear. We're talking sweatband. And her mom made these outfits for her that were striped with bodysuits and pants and slouch socks.
Oh my God, you had to bring that up. 80s hair.
Yes, it was, but it was the sweatband that stuck in my mind. And she had the whole routine pretty much in her head, because we did a freestyle team that year, and it was all written down. So this music was edited with all 30 cuts. The routine was written down. She had spent hours and hours and hours knowing where she wanted them to be at each time. And it was just a beautiful friendship from there on, because we were on the same page, you know, like you show up to the gym, you show up ready to work and you're committed to what you're doing. She was so always, you know, if you had a bad day with an athlete or a parent, and she was the one that was always there to talk me down. And Andrea, as you see, I set up today in the kitchen. Do you remember all those talks on the kitchen floor after a strenuous day so I just thought we'd have a little walk down memory lane.
Yeah, we wouldn't sit at the table. We'd sit on the floor with our backs against the cupboards.
We did until like all hours of the night, and just talked about our day and everything else. And you know, and I remember going to see you at Stage West. You might not want to hear this part of the story, but your mom's costume was quite brief.
Yeah. It's kind of it's when you look back, it's a lot of the stuff that I did in theater: prostitute, courtesan, stripper. Yeah. Not very much clothing.
But wonderful. You could sing, you could dance, you did everything you set your mind to, you did. And I think that's what tonight's all about, is
for sure
the passion that you put into everything. Just going out and watching you with the band, it's just so amazing. I remember going to Winnipeg for a certain Canadians, and your mom got on the bus to come down to the Camaro's Hotel. It was our 15th year anniversary. She put us all on the city bus. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm. She brought us to our house for our barbecue. And
you guys hosted a barbecue for everybody. And I'll never forget the hospitality from you and your family. And, you know, you'll always be. And 3 years ago, I have to tell everybody, it was our 40th anniversary, and Andrea shows up, black pants, the white shirt, baton in hand, jumped out of those bleachers and had those cutbacks down perfect. So it was great to see.
I remember that video.
Yeah. Almost
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So just a few memories I wanted to share, and all of the wonderful, wonderful times that we've had and still continue to have as friends.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Leanne. I appreciate it. So that completes the formal portion of the evening. The next thing we're going to do is move into our lightning round. So I'll ask a few questions to Andrea and Devin, and what we're going to do is just alternate back and forth. We'll do a few questions, and then we'll open it up to the audience to ask some questions to you guys. That works for you guys?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, Andrea, texting or talking?
Talking.
Devin, favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Andrea, nickname your parents used to call you?
Oh, and yeah, that's only when my dad was mad at me.
Devin, what would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Oh, I think speak every language in the world.
Andrea, favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Devin, how long does it take you to get ready?
3 minutes.
That's about the equivalent of my day too. Andrea, on a scale from 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
8.
Devin, what age would you like to retire at?
It's different with hockey. I mean, like I'm gonna work after hockey, but young. Let's go 45.
So like
young?
My age.
You call like that?
I'm like, I mean, hockey helps you out with that.
Perfect.
Helps you out with that.
Andrea, invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
Devin, is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
No.
Andrea, Ariel or Jasmine?
Ariel.
Devin, first celebrity crush?
Emma Watson.
Nice.
Hermione.
Yeah.
Andrea, dawn or dusk?
Oh, dusk.
And Devin,
I'm not a morning person.
I know that. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to, Devin?
I would probably go to University of Maine. Yeah.
Andrea, do you snore?
Yes.
Devin, what place do you want to travel most to?
Right now, probably Italy.
Andrea, favorite childhood TV show?
Scooby-Doo.
Devin, last Halloween costume?
Last Halloween costume was Harry Potter, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Andrea, cake or pie?
Cake.
And Devin, favorite ice cream flavor?
Gold medal ribbon.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff. All right. Well, that completes our evening as far as like our agenda. I'm going to open it up to anyone in the audience. Put your hand up if you're interested in asking a question, or feel free to ask it in the chat. We'll try to get through most of them, time permitting. I know that we're kind of running short on time, but I figure we can spend the next 15 minutes asking questions and answering them for you. Leisha Strawn has her hand up, and we'll go with Leisha first.
Hi, Leisha.
Going.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Leisha.
Okay, I just have it's mostly a baton question to Andrea, but I just wanted to show first everyone who's on here who was on that 1983 team. I want you to know that you didn't just influence Temple twirlers, but you influenced every athlete in this province. That was a huge accomplishment, and I found my twirling news from 1983 or 84, and the first story is the world team.
Oh my God.
You might see your
That's
thing
cool.
here.
That's funny.
And here and here.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
Clearly it had an impact on me because I still have it. So, and one of the things I will not give up. I have this, it's sitting there. I clearly haven't read it for a while, but it has like Betty Stapleton's write up from Milan. And I'm sure I've read it a gazillion times as an athlete. So, so thank you so much to that team, Linda and the whole team, for your accomplishment from that year, because that had a huge influence on myself as an athlete. The question that I have is for Andrea, and it's something I was talking to Kristen about earlier today, and just terms about coaching family members. And I know that there's some people on the call here who might be coached by a cousin, like you guys were, family members, or you know, a parent coaching a child, and just from your experience in terms of coaching Kristen and being a family member, you know, what are ways that you helped either manage that relationship or be able to have it be successful? And now that you reflect back on it, I guess, what are some tips that you might have for others who are maybe in that same situation in terms of coaching a daughter or son or someone else in their family? So thanks so much for coming. It's so nice to see both of you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question. Thank you for having us. Transparency is number one, is being honest and straightforward with the parents of what the plan is and what you're doing, and also making sure that you eye to eye, and they know who the coach is, and the coach is not them. And I think that's really important for them to understand, is coaching from the stands isn't going to help their athletes any. Conversation, very important. Communication, absolutely number one, but in a respectful and calm manner. So yelling and screaming and blaming and everything, not a good thing. And it's important to stand up and calmly tell these parents, I'll talk to you when you're willing to talk and communicate in a respectful manner, and then just being completely honest. And I think that's the most important thing, because they'll respect you later for standing up to that and showing what you have to have. The boundaries of the coach, the parent, and the athlete. They need to parent. They need to be supportive. They need to understand this athlete is going to be moody. They're going to be nervous. They're going to lash out, and they need to be there to accept that and know their role.
Can I add to that?
Oh no.
Just being the athlete here. No, I just want to say, you know, like Andrea and I have been like sisters growing up. But when she was my coach, and she was strict. Like, she was very strict, but I respected her more than anything. And I feel, you know, when you have that communication, you're open and honest, like she had said, it takes you a long way. And I feel like we've always had a really good and healthy relationship. Even now, like we talk weekly or so.
Yeah, no, that's great. And also just thanks to Andrea as well. Some of you on the call might not know this, but when Kristen and I were coaching Team Athena in 2012, we qualified at Ontario Provincials, and we ended up being able to go to, well, it was close to Ajax, and we were staying in Ajax, and we were able to bring the team. Andrea graciously invited the team over for dinner, and we were able to go over, and it was just wonderful for that team to be able to learn more about the history of our sport, particularly from those early teams. We watched videos, I think. Andrea pulled out the old videotape of the team, and we were able to watch it and share that moment. And actually, Andrea's in possession of the trophy from the bronze medal. And so it was very cool for them to be able to we took a picture with it, a team picture with it. And that was really a really special moment. And so I really appreciated you opening the house, but not only your house, but sharing the stories. And of course, that has an influence then on the next generation, of course, coming. So thank you again for that.
Our pleasure.
Good luck, Devin, this year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leisha. Anna Tasso, who happens to be my cousin, she's joining us from Chilliwack, BC. She said, I saw Devin involved in lots of sports. My kid wants to do everything and is begging for golf. Benefits of it, or is it better to focus on, I'm not sure what that's on, a pools of sports or? Anna?
Sorry, it was meant to be a couple of sports. I was trying to type on my iPhone, and I just had surgery, so I can't really do it.
better focus on a couple of sports.
Because Alexis wants to do everything.
Yeah. Is it, this one's for me? I'm taking?
Yeah, that's you.
I'm of the mind of, it never hurts to try it all. Like, just try it all, and you'll know pretty quick if you latch onto it, great. And if not, that's fine too. At least you tried it. But for me, as we talked about earlier, like hockey and lacrosse, like I loved them both, but they were serious. Golf for me was always my getaway. You know, it was, whenever I'm on the golf course, there is no seriousness at all. It is when I'm just genuinely just having fun. I don't care if I shoot 100, if I shoot 78, you know, like and it might be that way for some people. It might, like, obviously there's people on the pro tour who have to take it seriously, but just in my personal life, golf's my pure happy place where you don't have to take it seriously at all. So who knows? Yeah, I would say for sure, try it. And you don't even have to, like, they don't have to excel in it, but if they love it, then keep doing it, you know? So like, that would be my answer to that.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Devin. Any other questions out there? Any comments? I know Ron would love to speak if he's out there still.
Hi, Ron.
Oh, Ron, you're on mute still here. Oh.
Hi, Andrea.
Hello.
Really great to see you again. I remember, I don't remember one year, but it was a long time ago, and we were at a clinic, and it was like, I thought it was like a group or a team that I was working on, but I just remember afterwards, and many times afterwards, because somebody came in and said, okay, we're going to have a 15-minute time to have a breakdown. And some of them started to run away right away. And you said, no, let's come back here and keep working again. So
No.
I got to take Andrea with me to all my clinics because that's what we need to do. Thank you so much. That was fun.
Thanks, Ron. All right, I have a question here, a private question here that says, this is for Devin. When did you know you had the potential to play in the NHL? You seemed like you were always a leader on your teams. Where did that come from?
So I think the leader stuff, I think it has to come natural. So for whatever reason, you find something you're passionate about and just be yourself. I think you get labeled as a leader, like I know they do captains and assistants and stuff, but as you get older, people can see pretty clearly if you're being phony, if you're just being genuine with yourself. And if you're just yourself, and that may not be the rah-rah cheerleader type guy or the big emotional speech type of guy, but if you're just yourself, I think people gravitate to that and people respect that. So that might answer that part of the question. And then as far as the potential, it's always a dream. I think when I left the University of Maine and played in the AHL, which is the league below the NHL, I experienced a bit of success in that league. And people always talk like the biggest jump to the NHL, like the biggest gap between leagues is the AHL to the NHL. So I knew that, but when I experienced success in the league, just one league below the NHL, that kind of goes into your brain, like maybe I can do this. So that would probably be the answer. You're always chasing the dream, but when I got to the AHL and started experiencing a bit of success, that was when it really clicked, like this could be it.
That is very inspiring. That's awesome.
I do have a question, Kristen, if I may ask.
Yeah, of course.
It's actually for Andrea. Speaking of success, as a young girl, and maybe Kristen even can answer this one, my 8-year-old upstairs has a lot of self-confidence issues. And when there's a doubt about success, it's almost like she doesn't want to do it. How did you overcome that? Or did you have that issue at all?
Oh, of course I did. Absolutely. I lost a lot more than I won. But it's just in the process, and it makes you appreciate the wins. But you can't be any competitive athlete without having, I guess, what you would term failures. And that's what makes you and that grow, and that's what makes you work harder, because you want the feeling of those wins, the success. And so and it was the same thing, in anything, for the 1 or 2 wins that you might get, you're going to have a lot more 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th places. But if you want to succeed and you want to get those wins and you want to have that feeling, then you're just going to keep at it. So it's the passion for the sport too. I loved what I was doing and I loved it. I loved the people I was with, and I liked to win. I was competitive, but I wanted, didn't mean that I was going to quit as soon as I didn't. It just made me strive to work harder to hopefully be successful the next time.
Thanks, Anna. All right. Well, Devin and Andrea, when you get a chance, have a gander at the chat, because a lot of people had a lot of wonderful things to say. On behalf of the Manitoba Baton Twirling Sportive Association, our technical team, our chairperson, as well as our publicity person, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Again, this is exactly what we needed. I feel it is my mission to educate athletes and officials and coaches in the sport of baton, and also let them know where our legacy came from. And you are definitely a huge part of that. So thank you, Andrea. And thank you, Devin, for giving us insight on your life. So I really, really appreciate it. You have no idea how much this means to me personally. And thank you also to Linda and Leanne for joining us tonight as well.
Thank you very much, everyone, for staying on the call and for joining us and for all you've done for the sport and you continue to do. And it's been wonderful seeing all these familiar faces and all these names. And I am honored and humbled that you all felt that you wanted to give time out on your Saturday evening to spend it with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.